I apologize, guys. I really do. We had a lot of games in the past few days where I was saying like, oh my god, this is like a crazy ending, this is like an epic game. And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. We have another one. Like, these teams just doing stuff to give us great games. I don't know what I'm gonna do about it. We have an absolutely great match that have been sent. It's a Team League game, and SK Gaming is playing against not really a serious team, but a couple of people that are playing together. It's a team, I suppose, but like they are not playing too many competitions as far as I know. They might change that in the future though. And it's a CBT, so an assembly of Polish players that are playing together here. And against SK Gaming, this is of course going to be not really an easy match for them. But it's a Team League game, and I wanted to share that with you because this game is pretty darn epic. And you're gonna see why. So ladies and gentlemen, coming up here in Garden of Terror, CBT versus SK Gaming.
Alright boys, let's get the game started. We have to the left side SK Gaming here on Garden of Terror with Anubarak played by Keefers, with Bakery on Kelthas, Rafe on Uther, and Zarmany on Tassadar, as Snitch is playing Asmodan. Already a lot of points for this one. Asmodan, always fun to watch. And well, on the other side we have CBT. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the full name of the Polish team here. We have Blikitny to the right side with Sylvanas. We have Mistrush on Illidan, Ushka on Jaina, Scene on Tyrael, and Gczk on Brightwing. I'm not even trying to pretend that I pronounce these names correctly, but I'm gonna do my best. Either way, this is a fun game, guys. This is gonna be pretty damn awesome, and I hope that you are really going to enjoy it. So we're gonna go straight into it. The builds actually are pretty normal. All of these players are on a very high level. We've seen, or we're going to see, a few adjustments. This is a Team League match, and a couple of players are still trying to experiment a little bit, but at the bottom line is these guys, they know what they're doing. They have been around for quite some time. SK Gaming, of course, I don't really have to introduce them here, and is CBT. You've probably seen most of these players around as well. Currently as a level 1 talent on Asmodan, probably the most important part is that we are having, once again, taste for blood. You're trying to stack up in the early game as many kills as you can, and then you have a significant amount of damage in the later stages of the match. So in the early game, normally you are a little bit weaker. Zarmany and Snitch are playing together on the lane here for that very reason. What Zarmany is doing is he's using his Storm to make sure that all of the minions are very low in HP, and then Asmodan goes in with a final hit. This is actually one of the reasons why heroes like Tyrael are exceptionally good against Asmodan, and also Uther, since they can simply heal or shield the minions and therefore deny that. So Snitch is not going to have the easiest time here, but as soon as he rotates and also starts to get a few other lanes, he is going to do quite some damage. Here could be another potential glow, but you can see that the minions are actually very low, and Scene is still around here waiting for the potential shield. Back minions are being hit, and Asmodan is going to take those in just a second, and there it is. That's another 2 kills for him, since he was a bit too late, but you get the idea. So once again, of course, we have seats on the map, and ooh, here Scene and Ushka up against Keefers and Rave. Zarmany is moving in as well. We have a nice stun there. And Anubarak, of course, still one of the main tanks that we currently have in the game, thanks to the recent changes that Blizzard implemented in the Kelthas patch. Pretty big battle here already. Wow, rotations from everywhere. 4 versus 4 with Keefers just barely getting away, and Snitch is going for the all-shelter using his laser. Oh, the kill as Blikitny moves in and takes him down with Sylvanas. Talking about the talents a bit, we have on the side of Anubarak not the full beetle build, but instead it is the extended range on his Impale that he's skilled on level 1. We have the extra hit points for Bakery here, so he went for the Fel Infusion instead of going for the more popular Mana Addict. But that talent can really help him out, maybe in this situation as well. Nope, that's just a bit too much damage. In comes CBT with all their might, and they take down Kelthas. The Kelthas hate is real these days, and for good reason. I mean, this guy's, even after the mini patch that went out, does a ton of damage once he hits level 16 in that massive power spike. Seeds, of course, in the early game is still important. CBT even taking a slight lead against SK, who are, of course, the favorite to win the match. We're having Underking taken on the side of Anubarak. Pretty interesting build, actually, that we're seeing from Keefers here. These days, it's more common to see competitive player full focus on the Beetle build, but he's going full range on his Anubarak. And I can tell you one thing, if you are up against an Anubarak who's skilled on level 4, Underking, then oftentimes, especially in the first few fights after that happens, you completely misjudge his range, and you can be stunned again and then maybe even die. At the bot lane, the fight happening again. Snitch and Asmodan is is using his laser to take the hit points off the plant, but the rest of the CBT squad is moving in. They have a plant ready already, and in this case, we are actually seeing them pushing not only SK back, but getting another kill against Anubarak, and getting one against Uther too. So all of a sudden, these guys have 4 kills to nothing, and they are doing work at the plant to the bot lane. We're seeing Promote in this game as well. It's still a talent that is more used in the North American meta. In Europe, it's not as common, but that's one of the reasons why a lot of the teams are experimenting with it in custom games and also in Team League, which is the case right here. We're having Tacita with a Promote on level 4, and Brightwing has picked up that talent too. On level 1, he went for Bribe, so we're going to see him bribe a few of those camps once that the camps are up again. Currently, a plant is out on the map, and then of course they disappear. An interesting talent choice also on Illidan, and that's actually one of those things that I wanted to talk about a bit. We're seeing Marked for Death taken on level 4, where the first attack after a dive gets you an additional 100% damage. It's actually kind of nice if you want to go against solo damage for one target, but of course you really should normally pick up your extra damage around like your area damage. Immolation, that's the talent that nearly every Illidan player picks, and for very good reason. It helps you with damage against creep waves. In this case they have also Sylvanas and a few other heroes that can really dish out damage against siege, so they might not really need that necessarily, and really try to focus a bit more on the single damage against one target. But it's definitely something that you don't see too often. Could even see a misclick here. If it was a misclick, then it was at least one of those misclicks where you are like, yeah, well, that's not the talent that I want. It's not great, but it's at least not completely horrible. So yeah, not the best talent to get here maybe, but it's still an interesting one, and we've seen actually a couple of Illidan players trying to go for different strategies, but of course there is one build out there that is being played in 99.5% of the games, at least when you're talking about the competitive level. A kill against Jaina, well, up at the top apparently Khaldor is starting to take his revenge. Bakery is doing work, but in the mid lane, that's where the party is at, since the plant is doing damage. Oh, and look at Snitch already getting those globes in. He's by now doing quite a fair amount. I mean, we're talking about 42 additional damage. That's not too bad. If you hit 80 extra damage, you can, with a Black Pool on level 10, get a creep wave on your own, which is pretty good. So that's exactly what he's aiming for, and he has still 2 levels. They're still a bit behind in experience, as I say that. We're seeing on level 7 now, Bet of Barbs taken for Nubarak. With the build that he chose so far, that makes, of course, a lot of sense. So he's just going for an alternative build that focuses more on the rage and especially on his Impale. The Fission Bomb on Khaldor shouldn't be a surprise to any one of you if you are watching competitive play. It's the talent to take here, especially since later on with level 16 Ignite applies living bombs to heroes that you hit, and that's of course where you get most of your damage. We're having Static Charge taken on Tacita for a bit of additional damage too. The level 1 talents are so far pretty dominated on the side of SK Gaming by Conjurer's Pursuit, which is great in the mid game and especially the late game, since you are never really running out of mana, and on Uther and Tacita that's especially good. Talking a bit about CBT here, we're seeing them with Arcane Intellect, the standard build on Jaina, Deep Chill and Frostbitten are the talents to take on level 1 and level 4, and Water Elemental now that the heroic abilities are being chosen together with Wailing Arrow, Metamorphosis, Blink Heal and Judgment on Tyrael, of course. Tyrael is just a great character these days. Once again, he's back in the meta and I'm super happy about it. It's just always nice to see those judgments, and when Tyrael goes for justice, then there's definitely some action around. To the top lane, Zarmany is trying to de-push the lane now that one of the Bruiser camps has been taken. And look at CBT! Not only do they get another kill number 5 by now, they might even be able to take down Bakery. And they're stealing kill for justice! Scene jumps in and takes the kill. Well done by him here. And SK, well, they know that in the early game they are going to struggle. That's one of the things that you always have to keep in mind. If you are playing an Asmodan composition, you give up a lot of your early game pressure. You're good with the pushing power, but in team fights you are lacking a hero, since he really tries to stack up additional damage so that he can be useful later on in the big fights where he just throws one of his Orbs of Annihilation and then he can basically take down an entire team. Maybe not quite, but he's getting really close at some point. So once again the seats are taken, and that's of course one of the things that is a bit tricky. Objectives in the maps that we're seeing from Blizzard in Heroes of the Storm are quite important, and if you are running a very weak early game comp, then you will have to give up quite a few of those. So SK is really, they are really banking for the late game. They're betting on their chances to take down CBT in the later stages, and they're once again moving in here. We have Web Blast chosen, in comes Illidan, Wailing Arrow already silencing Khaldor. Kiefer's moves away, Zarmany is on the run in his Argon form, and Snitch with another good globe, but not doing enough damage just yet. But just look at that that's CBT in trouble. They need to move back. Too much area damage from their opponents. Bully Kidney was in the web and he can't escape. Jaina goes down. Another great globe by Snitch. Well, that is an NBA player in the making, if he just wasn't so short. Well, at least with Asmodan, he has some success here, and he gets those 3-pointers every single time. Good aim on that kid. And suddenly another one, so at this point we're having him with 106 extra damage. That black pool, of course, helps a lot. Ushka down here, well, he's in the wrong bush, and he's already realizing that too. He's like, uh-oh. Jaina is on the run, riding side saddle, but getting back behind the gate just in time before the SK squad arrives there. So right now, a pretty action-packed game already. 6 kills against 3. We're having Phoenix, Divine Shield, Blackpool, Archon, and Webblast taken. Most of these are already seen in the last fight. Snitch is going for another hit, and he does it. Invulnerability on Khaldor, the Divine Shield. Kiefer's on the other hand with a quick impale as another plant moves in for CBT, the Polish team. They are going in and they want to finish this, but look at Snitch. Wow, these hits against especially Sylvanas are great. Let's talk a bit about damage as another fort is being taken out by the team in red. Currently, Asmodan with 9,000 damage, not really something to write home about, not really something where you're like, hey mom, today I did the most damage in my team, but at least we're getting there, you know? And we're only 9 minutes in, and that's not really the time where Asmodan usually shines. So you need to be a bit more patient if you really want to fight that, and SK knows that. And they're not far behind. Not by any means. I mean, they lost 2 of their structures, that's definitely true, but they killed the one at top, and they are, in terms of experience, even starting to get a bit ahead here. Level 13 talents give more safety to Anubarak, who went for Spell Shield. We have the same on Sylvanas, and of course Flamethrower has been taken from Bakery, as he wants to go for Ignite on level 16, and therefore the extra range on his Flame Strike is pretty damn good. We're having also Prescience taken, and March of Sin, which makes Asmodan actually a lot more fun. If you can walk around while you're using your All Shall Burn, you are in a great spot. Imposing Will taken on Tyrael. We have an Ice Block on the side of, well, not on Jaina. She actually went in this case for Sprint, and it makes sense. There's not too many initiators for the opponent's team. Only Kiefer, and you should be able to dodge this one. But we're having it at least on Brightwing. In this case, by the way, also, as you can see, another really good hit from Snitch, who by now is rocking 158 extra damage. 500 is, of course, the cap in the game right now. Plenty, I can tell you that much. And as you can see here, Asmodan is starting to get the damage in. I mean, 12,000, nearly 18,000, 13,000 damage against heroes by now, so he's roughly on the level of Tacita, even a bit ahead. Of course, the main damage dealer in the team is still Khaldor, but, well, he doesn't count. He's cheating. So, yeah, Asmodan is starting to do some work. But still, let's find out how exactly it's going to work out in the late game, which is an important one. Another team fight in the mid lane on the other hand. Suddenly, here comes the arrow, silencing 3 Metamorphosis, and here comes CBT. They're going for the kill against Kelthos, and they get it. Web Blast already being used to isolate one of the heroes, but it's not enough. CBT reacts immediately and jumps on the web. Freeze the hero, and then they're going straight in for Zarmany, who needs to use his dimensional shift to get away, and he might... No, not quite. Oh, is he? Wow, the shield in the last second. I thought that Tyrael might even jump in here. Having played a lot of games with Scene myself, I know that he likes to go deep. So in this case, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him jump the wall and just simply go for Tacita and being like, yeah, well, I don't care if I die, this is my kill. No, but he's playing it safe and sound here. They're still a bit ahead in the game. As you can see, level 15 versus level 15. Asmodan is doing what he can, and both of the teams, of course, now that night has fallen again here in Garden of Terror, are aiming straight for the seeds once more. You need to get those. And this is the first plant that we are seeing for SK Gaming, if I'm not mistaken. So SK Gaming is finally starting to get a couple of seeds here, a couple of plants, so they will be able to do something. Scene already balls to the walls up at the top against 5, and SK taking him out. So now we're having 4 kills against 7 overall. But the extra talent for CBT. They are rocking Blood for Blood on Tyrael. We're having Criterize take on Brightwing. Illidan, of course, should go for Blood for Blood 2. There it is. Sylvanas, Blood for Blood or Cold Embrace, depending a bit on what exactly she wants to go for. And it is Cold Embrace, whereas we're having the Numbing Blast on the side of Jaina. The pushing on the lanes now quite important. but you can really tell that suddenly, I don't want to say that the focus of the game is shifting, but SK is in a position where it's a bit easier for them to fight back. I mean, just look at the damage that we're seeing on Azmodan here. He's by now at 226 extra damage. They're rotating through the map as 5 most of the time, and in those team fights, especially Azmodan is starting to get some more damage in. So the situation here is really one where CBT has to be a bit careful. They can't just simply say, alright boys, we got this, let's have some fun. The longer they drag this out, and the longer they take to kill a few keeps, the tougher it's going to be for them later on. Azmodan, of course, a great pushing hero as well. I mean, this guy is really nice, especially the all-shell burn is great for that. As you can see here, down at Khaldor's time, we're having another shield taken by him, since he needs to be super careful. They're all moving back here. And right now we have the 16 talents for them as well. Azmodan and Nubarak for blood. We're having also finally Ignite taken on the side of Khaldor. Now we can get the damage in. Benediction and Dimensional Warp. But, well, could there be a kill? Yes! Oh my god, he gets away even after the judgment, and they get the counter kill against Brightwing and against Tyrael. That was damn good. Really well done here on the side of SK. All of a sudden, these boys are starting to do a massive amount of work. Bleak Kidney actually might now die too. Is trying to run away. The Haunting Wave is too late. SK is going for kill after kill. Wow, really well done here. And I can't believe that Zarmany actually got away. Prescience and Dimensional Warp really helping him out here. These talents make Tassadar just so much safer to play, and in this case, even the judgment on Tyrael did not do anything. Very well done. 270 damage now, extra damage on Azmodan, and looking at his numbers, we're still seeing Tassadar a bit ahead, but just look at his siege damage. 100,000 siege damage already. Sylvanas and Illidan are pretty good when it comes to siege damage as well. Azmodan really rocking it here. This kid is doing just an awesome amount of work, and of course the cool thing is that if you can eliminate a wave with a single ball, 1,000 damage by the way already thanks to the black pool, then you are also able to just deep-push lane so easily. Look at the top lane. Push the way in all the way to the top right. At the bot lane, that's where they're now starting to focus again. Most of the lanes are really starting to turn against CBT, and you can already tell in experience that this is just a general trend. Earlier on, CBT was the game dominating those team fights and also getting ahead in the XP. Now suddenly we have 7 kills against 7, and SK Gaming is nearly a level ahead. But of course this isn't over just yet. I mean, at this point, if you have an Illidan in the late game that has some decent support, you all know how that can end. Illidan is just an absolutely amazing character to play, and he's super strong in the late game too. So this is definitely a game that both teams can win, but the problem for CBT is they will have to spread in those team fights. If that Globe of Annihilation hits 5 of them or 4 of them twice, then they are in trouble. The cooldown, of course, is pretty high, considering it's roughly 10 seconds. Actually, it's exactly 10 seconds. So, with that, yeah, you need to be careful. At the top lane now, we have a bit of a push starting here. So, apparently CBT is trying to push in the top lane, and they have a Siege Giant camp with that. Down to the bot lane. Well, apparently SK doesn't really care about that. What are they doing? They are moving straight into the middle. What are they doing here? They are trying to go for the keep. They're trying to eliminate a keep and then maybe TP back. Up at the top lane, Sylvanas is pushing. Sylvanas pushing is brutal, ladies and gentlemen. Sylvanas is an absolutely amazing pushing hero, and they're going straight for the core. At the same time, SK doesn't give a crap. They're going straight for the core too. Both of the teams are starting to eliminate the opponent's core. Who's going to be faster here? Both of them are roughly taking it down at the same time, and of course we're already having the camps moving in here as well. To the right side is Azmodan with the all-shot battle. All the cores are already down to 10% to 10%. 1 and 0, both of them dying at exactly the same time. The cores go down and the game is over, but who won the game? The red team wins. The RNG gods are with the red team, and they win the match here on Garden of Terror. Unbelievable.
The sickest ending ever. 0% on both of the cores. It's a tie. It's really a tie. It happened. Blizzard introduced a rule the other day that when a match actually ends in a tie, that there is going to be just basically a throw of the dice. The RNG decides which team wins, because there were a couple of occurrences in the last patches where with the tie situation, suddenly the game went to an infinite loop, and all of a sudden people were stuck in the game for hours. So they introduced that rule, and it actually happened. Like, this is one of those those games that you have like one in maybe like 10,000 or even more, and both of them just going for the core, both of them really thinking, we got this. On the one side, you have Azmodan, which is pushing power. You have a Tassadar behind it. You have all these heroes that do so much damage. And on the other hand, of course, we have Sylvanas just bursting through that keep, really going for it. And turns out they have the exact same amount of DPS, even with a level 20 already being ready for SK Gaming, and the cores die at the same time. Guys, this is as close as it gets. You will probably never see a game that is as close as this, or was as close as this. So yeah, thanks very much to especially Scene for sending me the replay. That game was nuts. That was absolutely bonkers. So the RNG gods are with the red team and they win this game, but I don't think that SK is too sorry about that. That was definitely a bit of an oddity. I hope that you enjoyed that, and if you did, give the video a thumbs up, and of course, if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also share it with your friends, because that ending was absolutely insane. I'm probably going to put a bit of a timestamp into the description as well, so you can share that link if you want. Makes it probably a bit easier if people don't want to go through the entire game. So guys, thank you so very much for watching today. I'm going to see you next time with more content for Heroes of the Storm on Khaldor TV.